All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're completely blurring the line between campfire tales and terrifying reality. We're diving deep into the source material of 5 unique, highly localized mysteries that have absolutely terrified communities and completely baffled law enforcement. Section 1, Exploring True Urban Legends. Listen, we aren't just recounting your standard ghost stories today. These accounts matter because they act like a mirror. They give shape to the terrors we all secretly harbor. You know, things like being in the wrong place at the wrong time or facing the severe consequences of our own dark actions.
Section 2, Traditions and the Dead.
Okay, picture this. Let's look at a grim historical village custom designed to test a husband's innocence after his wife's tragic suicide. Because abusive husbands rarely faced legal consequences back then, the local youth would enact their own brutal justice by locking the husband in a dark room with his deceased wife's corpse. In this specific account, the village youth planned to have a cousin wear a wig outside just to scare the husband. They heard him screaming and thought, hey, their prank was working. That is, until they noticed the cousin with the wig was standing right beside them outside the whole time. Inside, the real terror was unfolding. The wife's corpse had literally hovered off the ground, her neck stretching 2 meters long, just like a snake. By morning, the husband was driven entirely mad and confessed to everything. Section 3, The Cost of Greed. Trying to cheat the dead? Yeah, that's a dangerous game. Take Mr. Kang, a river body picker who ruthlessly overcharged desperate, grieving families to retrieve their drowned children. One day, his own daughter visited him, expressing deep shame over his extortion. After a fierce argument, Kang stormed off to a riverside shack. That night, in the pouring rain, he received a surreal, spectral visit from his daughter, tearfully begging for forgiveness before just vanishing. He realized, way too late, that she had actually slipped into the river and drowned during the storm. He karmically lost his daughter to the very river he exploited. It's safe to say he never charged another family again.
To wrap our heads around our next case from 1989 Hong Kong, you really need to know about joss paper. It's essentially ghost money that's burned in traditional rituals to provide for the deceased in the afterlife. Well, a local restaurant owner became furious when he found this fake ghost money in his cash register after a series of late-night deliveries to an abandoned apartment complex called Garden Plaza.
So the delivery boy, Sheng, gets sent to investigate. He arrives at this dark, freezing Garden Plaza building. When he knocked, the heavy door slowly creaked open just a fraction of an inch. And get this, no one was permitted to peek inside. A strange, pale hand just passes real cash through this tiny crack, while the raspy, disembodied voice demands the food just be left on the floor. But when that cash turned into joss paper at the end of the night yet again, the furious owner called the police, kicking off a mystery that would absolutely baffle the entire city. Section 4, Vengeance on the Road. You know, sometimes you don't have to do anything wrong. You literally just have to be in the wrong place. In 2019, 2 colleagues, Ken and Kiba, were driving down a notoriously dark road when they spotted a woman in business attire. They honked to offer her a ride, but she totally ignored it. When she finally turned, their skepticism about local ghost rumors was completely shattered. She had a pale face with pitch-black eye sockets, bleeding nonstop from her eyes and mouth. The guys sped away in absolute terror, right? But the entity miraculously reappears right in front of their moving car. Ken just couldn't swerve in time, and the car forcefully struck her. In what sounds like a visceral nightmare, her head actually dangled through the shattered windshield, staring Kiba down with a protruding red tongue, right as the car violently collided with a power pole. Ken was killed instantly, and Kiba survived but was driven permanently insane.
Section 5, Cursed by the Sea. Our final account from 2008 really highlights our extreme vulnerability against the vast ocean. A college student sat on a coastal reef for hours, completely mesmerized by the seascape. Caught off guard by nightfall and a rapidly rising tide, he barely escaped with a bleeding foot. He returned to his dorm drenched and freezing. But his roommate wasn't looking at his injuries. He was completely paralyzed with horror by what had actually followed him home.
His roommate just stammers out, "But behind you? Why is there a woman behind you? I mean, chills, right? That terrifying observation preceded a life-threatening, completely unexplainable fever for the student. He hovered on the brink of death in the hospital. Miraculously, though, his fever broke the exact day a drowned girl in yellow clothing was recovered from that very same beach rock. He had inadvertently shared a space with a trapped spirit, and only when her physical body was recovered did her spiritual grip finally release.
Section 6. Why these legends endure. So, now that we've mapped out these 5 chilling accounts, what should you really take away from all this? Well, these stories endure and embed themselves in our culture because they perfectly encapsulate the universal human struggles we face every single day. Whether it's the crushing guilt of an abusive husband, the devastating grief of Mr. Kang, the terrifying unpredictability of a dark highway, or the isolating vulnerability of the ocean, these aren't just stories about monsters. They are narratives about the human condition, wrapped up in the terrifying guise of the supernatural.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about the myths from your own hometown. Which of those chilling, localized stories might actually be true? Are they just folklore, or are they desperate warnings passed down from people who had to learn the hard way? Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.